Welcome to It's On Halifax with your hosts, Mark Adam and Pat King. It's On Halifax is brought to you by Maladjusted Media and Oasis on Spring Garden Road.
Hello! Welcome to another episode of It's On Halifax. I'm one of your hosts, Mark Adam.
And I'm your other host, Mr. Patrick King.
And we are about to be joined by one of Halifax's foremost comedians, actors, industry folks.
Teacher, as well. A Renaissance man, a venerable Renaissance man, Mr. Brian McQuarrie.
Brian Eldon McQuarrie, if you know him on Facebook. Otherwise, yes, just Brian McQuarrie will work. And, Brian, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh my God,
hello,
yes.
Brian. Hello.
Hi, guys. How are things?
Things are well.
For a Sunday. You know how it is. And how are
yeah,
you?
sorry about my mic problems. My onboard mic on my computer decided not to work today.
Yeah.
And you are here with us anyway, so we've overcome some major technical difficulties today, both on our end and on yours.
Yeah, that's because I'm Lex Luthor and I can make anything happen, guys.
Yes, let's talk about that, Mr. Luthor. What made you want to do that in the first place?
I don't know. I'm just a passionate actor, and Picnic Face got canceled, and so you're sort of left in limbo. And I made a point to get as big as I could for that TV show, and then I was 300 pounds, kind of fat, and didn't have a TV show anymore. So, you start hitting the gym, and you meet up with nutritionists, and you start to get your diet back into order, and you're working out in the gym. And I'm a fan of Superman. I've always been a fan of Superman, and my trainer and I just kept joking about, oh man, or he's like, he would say stuff like, you're gonna knock Superman out one of these days, like kind of pushing me on and stuff like that. And we'd joke about it, and my roommates, I would joke with my roommates about like, yeah, I'm gonna be Lex Luthor. And then I saw The Man of Steel this summer, and there was no Lex Luthor, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do everything I can to get that role. Like, I think I know a lot about Lex Luthor, and as an actor, I think playing a character like that would be so amazing and so fun, and I really like I like the kind of character that Lex is, and I think that I have a somewhat original take, but I also have somewhat a take that's grounded in what I think fans would actually enjoy watching. I'm sort of presenting, evil Tony Stark, or like an evil Bruce Wayne who happened to have his parents and they never died, kind of thing. So yeah, that's sort of the incarnation of where this idea came from.
Almost with this sense of entitlement he embodies. I want to be the hero in the spotlight and everything.
Oh yeah, like there's obviously there's latent inferiority complexes, not to mention this desire and need to be the best. Like I find that so fascinating. Mm-hmm. You watch people like Wayne Gretzky or like A-Rod, and A-Rod's a perfect example, like a guy who would go push himself to his limits, even cheat, and then lie in front of everybody, do everything he can to be the best in the world. And then they're like the perfect example of like Wayne Gretzky. Like Wayne is someone that I admire incredibly, and very humbled and stuff like that, and he sort of personifies that Bruce Wayne sort of take, right? So I'm not trying to say A-Rod is Lex Luthor, but I'm gonna take some pages out of his book, is what I'm saying.
He's not exactly evil, but there is some moral ambiguity there.
Yeah, he's not diabolical. He's more bollical.
Well, they say that every villain is doing good in his own mind, or it has some way to rationalize it.
Yeah, I saw a couple of infographics about bad guys and their impetus. It's like the Mummy. Imhotep just wanted to resurrect the love of his life. That's all he wanted, No,
I do love the idea of a character who believes they're doing good, and that's what makes a villain far more interesting. And I'm not looking to get political or anything like that, but Osama bin Laden had supporters because on that side he's the good guy and everybody in the Western world is the bad guy, right?
Yeah, and if you're just doing evil for evil's sake, you become this mustache twirling cartoon villain that
nobody wants to see that
no
anymore.
one can really identify with.
Yeah, no, I'm, like a lot of people, not a lot of people, like, I think from what I gauged, it was about split down the middle where you have some extreme fans that are like, I love this new Superman. Then you have a bunch of people in the middle who are like, I'm indifferent. I don't really care. I enjoyed it for what it was. And I may see the second one. And then you have people on the, the far right who are, I hated it. It was nothing like a Superman movie should embody. And for me, it's the realest, closest thing we have to if Superman existed. That's why I love it. That's why I love the fact that, Metropolis gets leveled. That's what happens on this planet when two Kryptonians go at it. And like, and again, I have nothing against Marvels. Like, I love the Avenger movies, but there are people out there that are like, I like the Avenger movie and screw you, Superman. And it's like, yeah, no, I like comic book movies. I like comic books. Like, I'm that guy.
Yeah, you seem to be like the lifelong fan kind of thing. I grew up on comic books as well, and DC always had something different to offer than Marvel, but they were always, they're both great storytellers.
Oh, they're great storytellers, but I found like, I don't know what it is, but for me in my mind, when I think of DC, I think of like, the iconic guys, or there's something mysterious about them. And don't get me wrong, they are gritty and they are raw, but when I think of Marvel, I think of gritty and raw. I think of like a lot of death and like, people are dying left, right, and center, and it's pretty messy in that world, and it's a very rooted in sort of like what a real world would be like if mutants existed. And I'm not trying to take anything away from DC because DC is very DC did that a lot in the 80s. As far as I know, like at one point, Batman
is the
had
example.
Guns.
Batman would be the example of DC being really gritty and dark.
Well,
sure.
Back in the 90s, they had The Killing Joke, and they had A Death in the Family where Robin got killed. They did a lot of really gnarly stuff to the Batman characters in like the late 80s and early 90s. But you must have done a whole ton of research just about Lex Luthor, like going back and reading comic books or like some really iconic runs of Superman. Like, did you dig into the backstories at all?
Yeah, I've looked into a couple of things. Doing like a lot of friends have sent me, you got to see this, you got to see that, you got to read this, and like, I've only been able to get snippets of the Life and Time. I think it's called The Life and Times of Lex Luthor. It's basically the autobiography written by Lex Luthor when he's an older man, and I have been looking forward to getting my own copy because I put in an order with Strange Adventures, so I'm still waiting for that to come back. And yeah, I've been sort of watching the cartoon and finding those little moments, or like I've got a lot of the video games that I've been looking at and stuff like that, and some of the stuff that I've enjoyed is the Man of Steel Lex Luthor version, like that I feel is the more closer sort of like character that they're going to want, given that Mr. Goyer, who's wrote that as well.
Mm-hmm. What did you think about the whole Bryan Cranston thing? Was that something that made you a little nervous, or did you almost give up because of that? Or
no, it just made me a little bit more annoyed. Only because, like, and again, like, this isn't. I'm not trying to take anything away from Bryan Cranston. I'm not trying to take anything away from Hollywood. I think everything that they do is awesome. Everybody thinks that they do awesome things. Like that. Let's all just put that out on the table. I think if they cast Bryan Cranston, they are doing a huge disservice to this franchise. And the reason why is we've already had the older, really smart Lex Luthor. It's great. Like, I think that's awesome. We've already had him.
We also had are you talking about the Return of Superman version?
I'm talking about Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman, in my mind, was Lex Luthor as a kid. He was Lex Luthor. I could not watch him in anything else when I was a kid growing up and not see Lex Luthor. Like, it was Lex Luthor playing Gene Hackman playing someone else in my mind, right? The Kevin Spacey one, again, like, I wouldn't take Kevin Spacey is one of the 20th century's best actors, 21st century, now that we're in the 21st century. Like, he's an amazing, phenomenal actor. I don't know, his Lex Luthor really didn't do it for me.
No.
Like, it's and that's, again, like, I'm like, I don't know, I feel bad saying, this guy who's amazing, like, he's got all the hardware. I don't know, his Lex didn't do it for me. And I don't know, I'm looking at what Bryan Cranston can bring to it, and I think he would do a great job. I'm just saying I would do a phenomenal job, a much better job.
Well, and that's the attitude you have to have, right? Like, Hollywood is not a place for people who are meek.
No, unless you're always cast as meek guy, then I guess you could totally be meek guy, but like,
yeah, not if you want to be Lex Luthor.
No, like, I find with this character, everything that I'm doing being brash and outright saying things like I'm the best in the world. Like, one, I do believe those things, and I'm going to be unapologetic towards it. But two, I think that that's what Lex Luthor would do. I have 10 months. People keep saying, like, well, how many people do you want to sign the petition? I want, if there's 7 billion people on the planet, I want 7 billion people to sign it. I know that's not going to happen, but I have 10 months, whether I accumulate 1 million signatures or I accumulate 2,000 signatures. I have 10 months to prove myself physically and mentally that I am the best at this. And I'm going to take that time.
Are you going to leverage HalCon? Because that falls within that time frame. That'd be an amazing thing for you to try
it'd be a great
step
platform.
into.
I haven't really talked to HalCon about this, but it's something that I would totally do or be open to. To quote the words of Bryan Cranston, give me a call.
Yeah. How far-reaching have you gotten so far with this petition? Like, have you gotten to anybody located in LA at this point? Have you received any big
other than Andy Bush?
Yeah, no, I've been contacted by a couple of LA people. No one specifically connected to the movie, of course.
Right.
No one, like, I don't have the friggin' key grip contacting me, but I've been in contact with some documentarians and just people who are living in LA, or sort of like actors like myself who go, yeah, man, do it, friggin' do it, like, yeah, tell the world that you're the best at this and try to get the role.
Hell yeah,
it's insane. Like, I wish I could live under that shadow of, like, Canadians are polite and we are humble.
I feel like that's something we need to break out of.
I'm not saying that that's something that we have to break out of. I'm just saying that, like, let's be our own person. Like, I'd like to consider myself a very humble person, and I know this campaign really throws that ideology out the window. But I'm normally a very quiet, shy guy. I am a shy person. That is something that a lot of people don't know about me. Mm-hmm. And so every day when I'm leaving my house and doing this Lex Luthor thing, like, I am the life of the party. Like, I am making sure that people know that, I'm doing this. I'm doing this thing, and it goes against my general nature, but I am so passionate about this Lex Luthor role. I am breaking out of my skin. I'm breaking out of that archetype of Canadians are always polite and humble, and I'm going to get up in people's faces and tell them that I'm the best. Like, one of my friends asked me, what would you say if you were sitting across from, Snyder, Nolan, the WB, Warner Brothers casting agents, and Bryan Cranston? And I would say to all of them, looking them in the eyes, I will make this movie amazing.
Huh. Yeah. Have you done any screen tests or anything like that yet? Have you anything to send out once you finally get that call, or is it just going to be, yes, I'll take it, thank you?
I've got a couple little things that I've been working on and, like, talking to some friends where we got, like, a couple like little strategy things that I'm mulling over. Again,
Well, you have to go in with a game
Nothing
plan.
that
That's Lex Luthor's MO.
I beg your pardon?
It said you have to go in with a game plan. It sounds like you've really kind of thought this out every step of the way.
For the most part, like, again, like, I think with a guy like Lex Luthor, you have to be calculating, and I've got to be calculating with the things that I've decided to do. And, again, like, yeah, it's hard because I don't want to divulge a whole lot, but, you know, kind of sitting on some ideas and making sure that, again, like the first thing was the petition. I just threw the petition up, and I was sort of like, well, how far do I take this? And I kind of thought it was only going to last a week with this Bryan Cranston stuff. And then when people said that he signed, and people would message me and say, Bryan Cranston has it, I, you know, straight up on my petition said, you know what, I'm going to keep this open in case you guys go and see the movie with Bryan Cranston and realize it was a horrible mistake, that maybe they will recast that role. And again, like, it's not, I'm sure if he does get cast, he's going to do a fine job. That's not what I'm not arguing his talent level. I'm just arguing that, like, I would be the best man for the job. And when it comes to my strategy as to get people's attention, like, you know, I've got 9 months and I've got 9 little tricks, I guess. So I'm looking forward to that.
I'm interested to see what you've got going on. I would love to see a younger version of Lex Luthor, because I mean, we're going back to it's the origin of Superman. He's young. You know, it's a young universe. I want to see the Lex Luthor jacked up in power armor and, you know, really kind of a badass as opposed to a shrewd business person.
And
yeah, no.
I think if they cast Bryan Cranston, I think they got the wrong Bryan.
Yeah, right. I like the again, like, and I'm approaching this one as an actor. I'm approaching this as a fan, and I'm also approaching this as a person who's in the industry. And I'm not saying that I'm in the Hollywood industry. Like, like being in the Canadian industry has been a lot of fun, and it feels almost more impossible. Like the things that I have accomplished with Picnic Face feel like they weren't supposed to happen in this country, and we somehow made it happen. Like, the impossible is possible. And I don't know, like with my approach to Lex Luthor, I love the idea of a guy who's the exact same age as Superman. Yeah. You know, a guy who might call out Superman for, you know, you've got all these powers. Why did you wait until you were 33 to show up? All these people died. Like,
well, Jesus waited till he was 33.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to go down that route.
They already drew a lot of those parallels pretty heavy-handedly in the Man of Steel movie.
It's like, again, like, some people say, I never look for those things anymore. I don't bother. Like, if you're a Christian and you believe that a guy walked on water and did all that stuff, and, you know, at the end of the day, the words that guy preached are pretty cool. Let's just love each other. Those words, like, that's awesome. You know, his magic tricks, I don't need his magic tricks. I like the word that he said, which was, let's just be kind to each other. You know, let's not kill each other. Let's not go to war.
And what's funny is
love life.
A lot of our stories, you know, and things that we do today, like the Bible or don't, believe that it's real or not, the stories are really good. Like, we keep making movies that absolutely parallel those stories because they're good stories and people like to hear them.
I think it more so has to do with, one, they are stories that do really well, and we can sort of just stamp or carbon copy them and paint them up and do them differently. But with Superman, I don't approach it as that parallel world. Yeah. Yes, there is that, you know, a father sacrificing his son. You know what? I'm tired of that bullshit. Like, it's Jor-El, as far as I'm concerned, saving his son from a doomed planet run by a bunch of friggin' morons. Like,
that's what we should be taking from it, and I feel like it's a good angle because Lex Luthor has this huge corporation, and he's probably been advancing technology and saving lives all over the world. While Superman was just kind of doing his undergrad trip off into the rest of the world kind of thing.
And no, there is that sense of like, I wouldn't put it past Lex Luthor to have felt somewhat slighted that he's a guy who I believe in, like in some origins, or not origin stories, but in some stories, Luthor goes through Princeton and Yale at the same time, which just speaks of how insanely intelligent he is, right?
Exactly.
And it's somewhat of a joke. So here's a guy who is going through all this stuff, still getting his education, constantly being educated, redefining business, and in some way trying to make the world better, or at least trying to work with the world. I like the idea of creating a guy who might come up with, new fuel sources, and is actually trying to help the environment. I would love to see a Lex Luthor like that. I would like to see a Lex Luthor that just gets pushed over the edge with his jealousy and his inferiority complex, and has no problem killing a few white mice just to get rid of Superman.
Well,
and that's
I don't
what
think
makes
that's.
him even.
I think that would make an amazing Lex Luthor.
I think that's a great idea.
I think you have absolutely hit the nail on the head with this.
Because, I mean, in the movie, there's only a few mentions of Lex Luthor, and one of them is on a LexCorp truck filled with fuel, of all things.
There's a couple. There's a LexCorp truck that drops off Henry Cavill at the farm.
Right.
There's the oil truck that gets thrown by Zod. And then apparently the other rumor, like, again, I'm researching every single day on the internet, so it's like, well, what can I find, or who's been cast as him? Who can I send my angry email to? And the other thing was Zod removes his armor on top of LexCorp, where you can assume that that's the armor that Luthor will get a hold of and try to change. But I mean, there was also a ship left behind, like, with that core and their energy source. Like,
and with an empty pod, which I think points towards a Supergirl, which was rumored, I guess.
Yeah, all kinds of rumors.
So
the pod thing. I don't know. I find that so interesting, but I'm not sure. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, they can go lots of places with this particular world that they've built. I mean, there was a lot of subtleties. There was the Wayne Enterprises satellite during one of the space battles, which they revealed shortly after that the next movie would include Batman.
Which, by the way, what do you think of that?
Which is great. Sorry, Adam?
What do you think of Batman being part of the next Superman movie?
I think it's great. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to tell them how to write their movie, but I mean, in my mind, because I've been writing in this journal nonstop, and like, I think for my buck, like, something that would be iconic, I think, is if you have a Lex Luthor that just almost kills Superman, just almost kills him, just beats the piss out of him. A guy who wants Superman dead, and the guy that saves him is Batman. And you've got that hanging over Superman, or that sort of relationship between Superman and Batman. Why not? Like, you've got Batman who can say, "Yeah, I've saved your life once," or like, "You owe me. You still owe me."
Yeah. It's like, you noob. Come on. What are you doing? And I feel like they've gone in they've already went in a pretty controversial direction with the casting of Batman. So I mean, what's to say that they couldn't, really reach for, go outside of Hollywood to cast the rest of this universe kind of thing. I mean, Ben Affleck, sure, he's a huge Hollywood superstar and a heavyweight and everything, but I don't think anybody really saw that coming.
Oh no one saw it coming. My roommates and I were joking about how if we knew that everybody was up for the running, why didn't I just put this whole petition towards Batman rather than Lex Luthor? But for myself, like, Ben Affleck isn't the worst actor in the world.
I'm actually quite confident he's going to be great. I'm pretty pleased with it.
I don't know. I'm indifferent, and I'm going to wait to watch. I'm not going to really pass any judgment, but one of my friends said something that was really poignant, which is Ben Affleck has to prove that he's not Ben Affleck. He has to make me think that he's Bruce Wayne. We just had a guy who did everything they could to immerse themselves in that role and convince us that they were that person. Mm-hmm. Christian Bale did an amazing job of that. Oh, yeah. A phenomenal job of that. And now that's the utility belt that, Ben Affleck has to fill. So all the best. I wish you luck. And I think he can do it.
Oh, yeah. But it's going to be difficult for him. And I feel like he's gone through enough where he might have he might have the tools he needs to kind of reach into himself and try and do this right. I mean, he'll make a great Bruce Wayne, but a great Batman he's got the chin. That's fine. That's really all you need.
I think, have you ever read the comic book Trinity?
I have not.
I recommend it. It's great. It's Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, and the first time that they actually work together, and it's great. And Batman is usually used for comic relief. He's not like an idiot, but like he's always got a quick whip. He's a sharp tongue. He's very smart, and he's working with essentially the Amazon God woman, and then like the alien who's stronger than our gods. Like, so he is definitely the guy who is just relying on his intelligence and like any sort of machinery that he can create or.
But isn't that the wonderful thing about Batman? And if you look at the Marvel universe, his equal in the Marvel universe would be Iron Man. They're regular people that have a shit ton of money and a lot of brain power.
Oh yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this Batman. Like, I can't wait to see a Mr. Freeze. I can't wait to see a Clayface. Like, I'm excited to see this world again. I'm, that sort of fantastical world that we still root in reality. Some people are like, I find people are in a split between liking and disliking the new Spider-Man, but I like the new Spider-Man.
You mean the Amazing Spider-Man, right?
The Amazing Spider-Man, yeah. No, I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. I at no point in watching it thinking, I hope Tobey Maguire shows up. I'm interested in to see this world and what sort of risks that they take and liberties that they take. Because this Superman franchise and the Batman franchise, they mean a lot to people. That's the thing. Like, we all have a sense of ownership as a fan. We've put a lot of time. We put a lot of bucks down on buying the comic books and playing the video games and, watching the TV shows. And we want to see something good. We want to be rewarded. We want Hollywood to listen to us and go, we hear you. Here's this amazing story that you can be proud of. And when people say, I haven't seen it yet, you can go, you have to watch this movie. It's the most amazing movie of all time. And I think that the team that they have assembled are capable of that. I do hope that I get a chance to at least audition. But if that doesn't happen, well, get ready for angry emails.
Lots and lots of angry emails.
Well, I have at least 1,200 people who would send an angry email, but that's about it right now. But again, I'm pretty passionate about this, and I've got 9 or 10 months right now, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, that's plenty of time. That's plenty of time to get a lot more momentum going.
I hope so. I'm hoping.
And plenty of time to get super ripped.
Yeah, no, it's the transformation itself right now has been fun. I just saw a friend who I actually haven't seen for a full year, and I'm sort of closing in on the time when I started taking my diet into consideration last year, and I was talking to them about how I was going to start doing this, and they're like, I don't know, man, sounds crazy, good luck. And so they saw me the first time last night, and they were just shocked at how I look right now. And I'm like, I'm not even there yet. I'm not, I think I'm about 4 or 5 months away from being where I want to be physically. And then I'll hopefully, the way that I see it, it'll be just trying to sustain that sort of muscle mass and what have you for the next 4 to 5 months after that.
Yeah, well, and as a guy, I've worked with you before. We did the pudding room. Like seeing you recently, you look a lot healthier. You look a lot more energetic. You just look like you feel better, and I think that's half the battle.
Yeah, no, it's all about, healthy mind, healthy body. Like I've been, one of the things that I've been doing is teaching a mental health class. I decided to do this last year, and then it finally came to fruition this year. And it's been one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. And I believe now, when you're playing a fat guy and it's comedy related, you're not exactly hitting the gym to sustain your fatness, right? And I, once the show was done, I was like, well, I guess I'll get back on the train of getting healthy. And going to the gym and working out is great. And I like to think improv is like the gym for your brain. And it's so much fun. And to watch people who deal with anxiety or depression come to class and jump out on stage, it's the most humbling and rewarding thing I've ever seen. These people are so strong and so magnetic as individuals, and for them to jump out and do the scenes that they do, and then have me critique them, I feel so humbled and honored to watch these people. And it's the again, in some part, me doing this campaign is for them. I'm always trying to encourage them to realize that your voice is worth listening to, that you are important. Everybody is important, and everybody's ideas are good. And they're not spot on. They've got to be critiqued. They've got to be constructive criticism has to hit that stuff. But these people are amazing, and I'm loving watching these people, and so I have no problem championing them and showing them set the most astronomical dreams, because sometimes the journey itself is more important.
That's really deep.
Yeah, that's probably one of the most inspiring things I've heard in a very long time. Thank you for that.
Nah, no worries, guys.
Sounds like a solid class.
It'll be great when I get this Lex Luthor role and I can shout, see, dreams can come true, guys.
And then everybody jumps into the air and high fives, and we freeze frame on it.
And we're stuck in a freeze frame for the rest of our lives.
Time stops. Oh, shit.
I want to switch the subject just a little bit to, you just mentioned you do some improv classes with these people with mental illness, and you're also working with a company here in Halifax, Make 'em Up's improv comedy company.
I started a company with, or not started, I jumped on board with this company that Owen Stanford started up with his lovely lady and a very funny lady at that 74 hand. So they are two wonderful people that have entered my life, and we've decided to put together a community of improvisers that have moved to Halifax. And it's so interesting that, things just happen to, I don't know, I don't know if things happen for a reason or if it's just special circumstances or what, but there's just a bunch of really good improvisers that all of a sudden moved to Halifax. And not to take anything away from Vancouver or Toronto, I like these people and I find them very funny. They are young, energetic, smart, and just really good at improv. And here's a chance to see this art form for people in Halifax, and I'm honored to be a part of it.
Well, it's one of those things where Halifax really kind of craves new things, and this is very new to Halifax, even though like Picnic Face did improv shows and did very well. Did so well, a lot of it was sketch, but half of it was improv, and it sort of went on to Toronto, became a television show. So clearly there is a market in Halifax for that. So
I just want to clarify, we never went to Toronto to do
improv,
the TV show. We did the TV show here in Halifax, and that is something I'm very proud of.
Yes, sorry. Yes. But
no, I just want to clarify, because a lot of people have that misconception that we went to Toronto to shoot the TV show, and no, we shot the TV show here, and our crews and our everybody connected to that TV show were fabulous. I would go to battle with any one of those people that were on that TV show and helped with that TV show.
Excellent. And now I hope that you eventually get. I mean, I know for you, Make 'em Ups is new. It's only like a month old as far as you're concerned. Like, because they were a company in Toronto and they're sort of branching off to Halifax. Is that correct?
Not necessarily branching, but definitely moving here and relocating. Because there's this thing called the Canadian Improv Games, and all the high schools across Canada put together an improv team, and then they compete, and then they do the nationals in Ottawa. And Owen came down from Toronto and saw that there really was no infrastructure. The only thing that was going on was me teaching a mental health class and a regular class on Mondays. And so he saw the potential and then sort of met up with me, and he was like, well, do you want to try to do something? And I was like, let's just put our resources together and make something awesome. And that's what we've been doing, and it's been great. It's been a lot of fun, and we're going to have... I encourage people to go to the website, Make 'em Ups, MAKEEMUPS.com. And we have classes that we're going to be starting soon, and we have an intensive coming up, which is going to be really cool. We've got a guy coming in from Toronto who is just a fabulous being. We've got another person coming in from Vancouver, and it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be in Halifax. Like, I'm constantly plagued with the question, why aren't I in LA or why aren't I in Toronto? And the reason why is because Halifax is the most beautiful place on the planet, and the people here are amazing. It's just really hard to find work in this city. So
yes.
Oh, I hear you.
I like that whole. It forges a sense of community. Everyone's kind of struggling along doing what they love to do in Halifax, even though work is a little bit scarce or that kind of thing. People tend to kind of make their own work.
Yeah.
No, that's what people. Sorry,
I'm
go ahead,
fortunate
Adam.
enough right now to be in the Fringe. I know you've got a couple of things going on in the Fringe yourself. Emily is heavily involved with a lot of different people in the Fringe doing some photography and stuff, as well as she had her own Fringe show last year, a one-woman show, which was very funny. Like the Fringe and things like that, we have to make those more... We have to make them bigger here in Halifax. Like you said, it's hard to find work as an actor in Halifax, and I'm not saying that the Fringe is work, because that implies that you get paid a lot of money for it, and the Fringe you really don't. But what do you think that we need to do here in Halifax to make that scene more prosperous for those that are involved?
Again, there is. I'm not going to sell the Fringe short, because I thought the Fringe was actually quite good this year. Last year, it seemed that there was unnecessary risks taken, or like unnecessary ventures. Like, again, Pier 21 is amazing, but logistically, it's just not. It doesn't make any sense in my mind to have parties or have a get together at Pier 21 when the vast majority of people are, performing downtown, and their hotels are in the North End, and so it's. Short of having a shuttle system, like if a shuttle system was used and artists were transported everywhere, but that's just not viable. Like, it's not. We're not talking about a film fest or a highly structured comedy fest where it's just performer. We're talking about 15 performers per show, from 1 to 15 performers, or even 20 some performers, right? So that's just a shuttle system is impossible. What I think to do is all about the experience, and making sure that everybody is having a good time or gets to be a part of a good time. And that's what makes the festival. I think the festival was great in the projects that they brought here. Again, a show that you can still catch today is Roller Derby Save My Soul. Nancy Kenny is a wonderful performer, and a performer that I got to meet here. And I'm glad that Tom Fitzgerald brought her in. She's a phenomenal performer and is definitely going to go places, and very smart as a writer and as an actor. And then you have up and coming people who Jess Fitzpatrick, who is just an amazing young performer, and like I'm hesitant to say young because she doesn't personify what young performers are. Like, she's a very learned, educated performer at her age. It's kind of staggering to think that she's like 23 or something. And we've got even some of our homegrown stuff, like Alien. Alien's a phenomenal show about people struggling with being a foreigner in a foreign country, and just how not easy it is to live in a beautiful place such as Halifax when you're not from here. I'm a white comedian in Halifax. I've got a kind of pretty good, guys. Like, I've got a pretty good. I'm not gonna lie here. And here's this girl who, just pouring her soul out to people. Last year, there was a phenomenal show by Mr. Brown who talked about pieing Jean Chrétien in the face. And it's kind of funny that everybody showed up to want to hear what happened after that. But the story itself was about this guy's entire life and his problems with authority. And I'm so proud of the art that we make. I am a delusional man. I believe that everything that comes out of Halifax is better than anything you would find in New York, London, France, Australia. I love this city, and this city is full of some of the most creative human beings. And I, again, not to pull it back to this Lex Luthor thing, that's why I have no problem telling everybody, like, you know what, Hollywood, have your little award system. I don't care. I'm better than most of you. And I can't be apologetic in that. I can't. I just wish I had more opportunities to prove that I am as good as, if not better than, most of those people.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because it's such a small market here. There's like you said, it's very hard to get the opportunity to prove yourself and to say to people, like, look, I'm not just talking out of my ass. I can actually do the things that I'm saying. But not being given an opportunity to do that, it makes it very hard.
It's about when you're not given the opportunity, then you have to make the opportunities. And I spent a year and a half sort of like just figuring things out. And I'm like, well, what opportunity do I want to make? And like, I've written pilots and I've written features, and I haven't really pitched them to anybody. Like, I've talked to a couple producers, and they're like, yeah, this is a really good idea. This is a really good idea. And, I'm still sort of sitting back thinking, like, well, is this the big opportunity? Is this the opportunity I want to create? And then I finally found one, this Lex Luthor campaign. I think that this campaign is the equivalent to the opportunity that I want to bring or create for this city.
Because even if you don't get the role, I mean, at least you're getting national attention. You're putting Halifax and actors from Halifax kind of on the map in a way. You're just letting people know that things are going on here, and things have been going on, and I've been here practicing, and there's this huge acting community kind of thing.
It's almost the same as there was a few people ran for mayor this go round because Peter Kelly was out of the race and blah blah blah, and they knew they weren't going to win against our now current mayor, Mr. Savage, but they just wanted to get heard. They wanted to get their ideology out of there. And it might not be quite the same. Like, I think you have a better chance of getting an audition than some of these people had of being voted as mayor. But it sort of has this, like, you need to get the message out there, even if the end result is you don't win. Is that true?
Yes and no. Like, I'm not headed to the Stanley Cup Finals to lose. I have full intention of doing everything I can to get an audition. And
yeah.
The byproduct of it is I hope makes people pay attention more to Halifax. But Ellen Page is from here, and Hollywood is already aware that there is something. Sidney Crosby is from here, and there's something in the water. And I love a lot of the performers that are from Nova Scotia, musically and artistically. And if this campaign draws a little bit more attention to Halifax, then awesome. I am totally cool with that, and I totally believe that Halifax is worth paying attention to. And for me, I just find it staggering that when someone is putting together a movie or a TV show, like there are casting agents here in Halifax, but they always go to Toronto, and that's it. And I think that is naive in the world that we're living today. Again, like people would argue, Brian, you're supposed to be in Toronto or LA. Like you're of that caliber, you should be there. That's where the work is. But I, again, love my city, and I'm doing everything I can to make it so I can live here where I want and still do what I want. And you know, I'm sort of behind the gun in the sense that, like, yeah, I'm close. I am narrowly closing in on that time when I do have to move to Toronto because it's just not viable for me to stay here in Halifax. That doesn't mean I can't come back, but yeah, like there is a point when I'll have to leave. And you can be damn sure that when I'm in Toronto or if I'm in LA or New York, I'm going to keep talking about Halifax and how amazing it is. And I'm going to miss the hell out of everybody here because this is a beautiful city and full of beautiful people. I hope that people, you know, pay attention to Halifax. That was one of the most rewarding things about Picnic Face when I had a friend tell me one time that she was in Washington and they're watching Power Thirst. And she went, my friend in Halifax made that. And then she got kicked out of the party for lying. And she messaged me immediately and was like, can you do something to verify that I know you? And I was like, nah, you can get kicked out of that party.
Yeah, those people aren't your friends.
Yeah, like, seriously, what are you doing? Don't hang out with those people. Or, like, I had a friend tell me that she was in the Outback in Australia. Or not the Outback, but she was essentially out in the desert, and they were setting a fire, and someone, like, knocked something over, and he just uttered out 400 babies, and she was like, what did you say? And he was like, nothing, it was just from this thing I saw on the internet. And she's like, no, say it again. And he was like, 400 babies, Power Thirst. And she's like, my friend made that for me to hear something. Did she get kicked out of the Outback? Yeah, she got kicked out of the Outback. No, the Australians were a lot nicer than the Washington folk. And the thing that I find the most interesting is that she was on the other side of the planet, in a remote area. She was the farthest you could go from Halifax, Nova Scotia, and Halifax, Nova Scotia made it there. That for me is a humbling and such an awesome thing that I got to be a part of, and I'm so happy that, you know, I'm happy that I might be able to do it again. Yeah,
that's a rare and interesting feeling.
Yeah, I mean, like, and you brought up Ellen Page. She's, you know, she was in fucking
X-Men?
X-Men.
Yeah, she was in Inception.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was also Inception, and I'm really hoping that she might see my campaign and go, you know, Chris, give him a chance.
Yeah, let me give someone a call.
But I'm just saying, yeah, that's a connection to the Marvel universe, but still, like, I'm just sorry, I went through the X-Men, but
no. She did work with Christopher Nolan on Inception.
Yeah, that's the other side of the coin.
Producing the DC series.
Yeah.
I'm really banking on that one, guys. I'm really this whole thing has just been an opportunity for me to hang out with Ellen Page and Christopher Nolan. That's it. I don't care about playing the character. I just want to have dinner with those two people.
It's just an elaborate scheme.
Wow, best scam artist in Halifax.
I just want to have a tea party with those two. We're going to drink lemonade. It'll be wonderful. It'll make no sense. I thought there was going to be tea here at this tea party. Nope, just lemonade. Thanks for coming.
Weirdest tea party ever. Anyway, that's pretty awesome. I like that. I love that you love Halifax because I think like we do too.
Because I love Halifax. Yeah.
We this podcast is called "It's on Halifax."
Like, I know it's ironic,
right? Because
no, and I appreciate that. Like, I think, why live in a city that you don't like? Why? Why do that to yourself?
I've lived in a lot of major cities, and I think the only one that even came anywhere near Halifax was Vancouver, but only because of its similarities to Halifax.
Oh yeah, Vancouver is a beautiful city, and again, I'm not trying to take anything away from Montreal. Montreal is a fabulous city that I love going to. Mm-hmm. Quebec might be the most romantic city in all of North America. Toronto is great. I love going to Toronto, and I love the people that are in Toronto.
There's so much to be done there.
Sorry?
There's so much to be done in Toronto. It's unbelievable.
there's always something to do in Toronto. But the best part is like you can screw up and then just like you can screw up with your friends and then find a whole new pocket of friends. That's how great Toronto is. If you wanted to be, you could like pretend you were some foreigner from Russia with a group of friends, and then be a completely different person with another group of friends, and they would never cross paths. No, I like Toronto. Toronto is great. And again, I don't have anything against it. It's just I prefer Halifax more. I loved Vancouver when I was out there. There's nothing better than walking out of a hotel and seeing the sun rising over some mountains, and then you look over your shoulder and you have an ocean that just goes for days. The most beautiful sights I've ever seen. But again, I prefer Halifax over Vancouver. That's just the way my brain is. I don't know.
Well, I come from a small town, so being in a city like Halifax, it's still a city, sure, but you can walk places and you bump into people you haven't seen in a while, or you're constantly meeting with friends, and it becomes this, you've got one pocket of friends here, one pocket of friends there, and eventually it just becomes this huge web.
Oh, yeah, totally. It's what I grew up in a small town as well, Antigonish, Nova Scotia, and the thing that I love is that Halifax is if a small town grew up to be a big city.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't know you were from Antigonish originally. I'm from Port Hawkesbury, right across the causeway there.
This interview is over.
Well, I mean, just outside of Port Hawkesbury. I say Port Hawkesbury because it's the only landmark. I say Evanston, and people are like, "Where is that?" And I'm like, "Oh, nobody knows. There's like 50
cool.
people."
We've got that little mound of dirt that separated us. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm a huge. I'm a big fan of Halifax. I'm not even famous, and I don't think I can walk down any street here in Halifax and not run into somebody I know. It happens all the friggin' time. Right?
It's kind of cool how Halifax has that ability to make everybody feel like they've got mediocrity on some level, right? Like, the thing that I love about Halifax is that even if someone does recognize me from Picnic Face or even like some of the TV shows that I've done here, no one gets up in my face or my grill about the stuff. Like, there is that general interest of like, I just want to say hi, but like, I never feel like they might kidnap me. And in Toronto, given that I had a very, not necessarily a super unique look, but I was like a 300-pound man with a giant beard. I kind of stuck out like a sore thumb, and going into a drugstore to get cough medication, and I have a guy watching me as I purchase it. He leaves his son to run around in the place for him to come up to me and go, "We are huge fans of Picnic Face." I'm like, "I'm just sick right now and want to get this medication. Can I just be a regular person for a day? Can I just be a regular person for a day?" Or like, going down Queen Street. Queen Street was kind of crazy, but it's fun. Like, someone taking the time out of their day to say, "I'm a fan of what you do," is a very humbling thing to be a part of. And the thing with Halifax is that people sort of respect it, or they don't know who I am, which is great. I get to be a regular dude here, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, because it seems like even the people who recognize you in Halifax, they don't have that kind of crazy starstruck. It's, I don't know. Like you said, everyone has this certain kind of mediocrity about them. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing.
Like, I think the campaign in the coast of like most famous person is kind of weird. Like, Ellen Page keeps getting it, but I would dare say the city itself is just full of famous people.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think people get confused about what famous means. Like, I think that people lose sight of the fact that Halifax means you're famous here in Halifax, but if you leave this place, you will not be recognized.
Yeah, right. It's funny because, again, like, I do pride myself on being a humble person, but occasionally I'll say an arrogant thing. And I was talking to someone, and they went, "Yeah, no, it's so cool that Brian McQuarrie walked into my store. Like, it's nice to have a famous person in here." I just went, "I'm internationally famous. Thank you very much." Internationally.
or at least internationally mediocrity, or full of mediocrity. So give me that. I have at least earned that. I have that sort of doctor complex. When someone calls me Mister, I'm like, no, I'm a doctor. I spent the 7 extra years working my ass off. I've earned this.
Yeah, and it's just so funny to me. Like, well, do you know who Fat Apollo is?
I'm very aware of Fat Apollo, and such a lovely man. Michael McCluskey is one of my favorite human beings, and a guy that I can't not hug every time I see. Love the man.
Yeah, and I dare say that he is the most highly famous person. The other people, I mean, would be the drag queens, I guess. They're the only other people I can think of that would be like highly famous.
That's funny because my roommate was talking about the drag queens tonight, and he was like, this one, Rouge Fatale, or I'm sorry.
There's El Noir and Rouge Fatale. I think are the two that I know.
Yeah, Rouge Fatale. I don't mean to take anything away from them. I'm usually a homebody, and I'm a shy guy who spends time at home or plays video games and watches movies. Like, I'm a pretty simple human being. In that respect. So I have no clue about the drag queen community, and my roommate was staggered at the fact that I didn't know who they were. And I'm like, I don't know. Do they have can I buy some cards? Are there cards like
action
trading
figures
cards?
at Strange Adventures? Or
Yeah, they have action figures that I can jump on board with. Help me acclimatize myself to that.
Do they have a video game franchise coming out?
Yeah, right. That would be a lot of fun. What I would also put in a pretty big argument for Jeremy Webb being super highly famous.
Yes,
that guy
I would have to agree with that as well. Yes.
And also a lovely man. A guy that I have no problem hugging every time I see, because he's such a lovely man. He also gave me my first most outstanding performer award when I was 17. Little known fact about Jeremy Webb.
So what you're saying is Brian McQuarrie is Jeremy Webb's fault.
What I'm trying to say is that all I know how to do is win awards, and
Christopher Nolan should look at you closer.
Man of Steel 2, if you want that to be Academy Award winning worthy, then they should hire me. My roommate just saw me say that arrogant thing, and was kind of like, really? Really? Did you want to go out with that? Yeah, that's who I am. I want to go right out and say, if you want it to be an Academy Award-winning movie, you'll put me in it.
There you go.
Drop the mic.
Drop the mic. Well, he can't because it's built into his computer. Don't drop your computer.
It's actually my phone, and we all know what happens to these phones when you drop them. They shatter.
I sure do, actually. I did it to mine last week.
Ew. No.
Yeah. Good
but
we're
coming to the end of our show, Mr. McQuarrie. I want to thank you very, very much for joining us.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me. I know that it took a little while for us to make this happen, but I'm glad that I got to do it.
Oh, and it was always a pleasure. Thank you for a great interview, and we're going to be posting the petition, obviously, and try and get those numbers up.
Thank you very much, guys. You humble me with your support and endorsement, so thank you very much, guys. And it was a real honor and pleasure to be on your show.
Well, it's an honor to have you here. So,
and hopefully we'll see you around town soon.
Yeah,
no doubt. I'll probably run into you guys probably within the afternoon.
Fair enough. And I still want to see. I would like to see you do something at Halcon. I would.
No promises, but we'll see.
If only
maybe.
just cosplay. Let's get you in the uniform.
Great, I love it.
Cool.
Thanks, Brian.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
So that was Brian McQuarrie, formerly of Picnic Face, currently of Make 'em Up's Comedy Company, also running a campaign to become Lex Luthor in the sequel to Man of Steel.
The man is just killing it every which way. Just an extremely talented person.
And I was very fortunate to have had an opportunity to work with him for almost a year doing improv on a weekly basis in a group called Pudding Room. And that was at Joker's before that closed, and we did some shows at the Halifax Feast, which was an amazing venue, but it was hard to work because they had, when they booked their own shows and stuff, we kind of got bumped. Which is, it's understandable. That said, he's a great guy, very, very knowledgeable as far as improv, as far as comedy, as far as acting. He knows his shit.
I've been actually considering hopping onto one of his classes for a long time now, which you can find at makeemups.com. We're going to post a link to the change.org petition, of course. We need to get those numbers up. 1,200 is not enough. We need 100,000.
Yeah, and I'm just excited that he decided to join us today, and we got to talk a little bit about some Halifax improv and his love for Halifax, because I'm a huge fan of Halifax, always have been, and it sort of reaffirms that for me. Thank you guys for listening. Itsonhalifax.ca is our website. You can find us on Twitter at itsonhalifax. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/itsonhalifax. I'm on Twitter, MarkAdamHFX.
I'm on Twitter as well, PatKingHFX.
And our controller, Emily Dewar, who has actually said nothing all day because Brian was so interesting. She is on Twitter, and it's EMJHFX. That's her handle.
Yeah, and finally, check us out next week. We've got Danny Baldwin lined up with a huge project.
Danny Baldwin, famous of the
Halifax Vintage Arcades, and he's got a massive project. We were his first interview.
If you check out episode 7, I believe it was number 7. Barcade is the title.
And he's gone away from that, and now he's got another massive project on the go. And again, we are going to be his first media outlet, his first interview concerning this new project.
The new project. Find the announcement here next week. Anyone else? You got nothing?
We
good, friends. See you next time.
This episode of It's on Halifax was brought to you by Maladjusted Media and Oasis on Spring Garden Road.